Are you writing your first script or screenplay, whatever you want to call it, and you find yourself going nowhere very fast? Or did you finish your first movie and people told you it was not any good? Well, the problem could have been with your script and your story and many other things that could have gone wrong. Join me in this series of tutorials as I look at what can go wrong with a story and how to solve it. But beware, in this series of tutorials, there won't be any shortcuts, there won't be any tips nor tricks, but full explanations of what can go wrong and how you can solve the problems when things go wrong with your script or your screenplay. Hi, I'm Isaac, and welcome to How to Write Your Screenplay, a step-by-step guide. In this episode, we will look at problems with amateur films, and we'll also look at what a story is. In the next episode, we will look at active versus passive characters and how passive characters can kill your story. And we'll also look at how needs and wants of a character influences your story. I've been watching a lot of amateur South African films over the last few years, and I have noticed a lot of problems in it. And this is because the amateur filmmakers who made those films did not know things that was necessary to know in order to make a film or to write a story. Number one, most of them had no real story or not enough story. And this is, I believe, because they don't really know what a story is, or what storytelling is, or what it is that makes up a story. The second problem is that they can't write or don't know how to write or have never learned to write a story. And this is evident in their films. And the fact that they don't know how to write a story comes down to the fact that they probably don't read, or shall I say, they can't read properly. The third problem has to do with the language that they use. And that screenplays or scripts of films is loaded with unnecessary dialogue. And that brings me to the biggest problem of all. These amateur filmmakers don't realize that storytelling or writing story is not about writing words. It is about creating images. Images that they need to form in people's minds when they read their stories or their scripts. Especially the one that is to direct that film need to be able to see those images. And those images don't only come from the actions that the writer writes in the script, but also from the dialogue that is in that script. So what is a story? At its core, A story can be described as a series of events or actions in which a character or characters have to strive to achieve something, do something, fulfill something, teach someone something, learn something themselves, or prevent something from happening. So a story is made up of those things that a character or characters have to do to achieve what we call a goal. But that is not all that you need to know. Your character or characters must be challenged by this goal or this problem that they set out to achieve or solve. The goal, therefore, must be difficult to achieve. In order to bring about a change in your character or characters. If there is no change in your character or characters at the end of the story, it means that everything your character or characters have done was unnecessary. Your character or characters have to grow as they struggle to achieve their goal or solve that problem. Now, here is an important thing to remember. If your character or characters have no goals, nothing they have to do, nothing, no problem that they have to solve, nothing that they have to prevent, then there is no story. Because a story comes into existence when your character is faced with a problem that he or she needs to solve. That problem is absent. What is your character going to do? What is going to motivate your character to act or do certain things? Now, this is where things really get very interesting, because it is at this point where a story can start to succeed or to fail. And this you can see in many of the South African amateur films that is produced in this country. And the reason why they fail is because of one word: knowledge, or rather the lack thereof. And no, it's not the lack of knowledge of how to tell a story. Those things one can learn, and there's a lot of material available to teach one just that. The problem is a lack of knowing people. Yes, people, us, the species we have classified as Homo sapiens. You see, there are things that drives us in our lives, things that make us do certain things. We might not even give it a thought, but it is there. It is those things that makes us buy things that we don't need, that makes us want things that you can do without. And yes, there are people who is pretty much aware of this, and they are even using it against us. Businesses use the knowledge they have about us to make us buy their products. Politicians use the things that they know about us to make us vote for them. But what is the thing I am talking about? The thing that makes us act. The things that determines what we will do in certain situations. You see, all of us needs things. All of us wants things. And that is exactly what is being used against us. And believe me, even good writers use that. Good writers knows how to use it to manipulate us, to read their stories, to watch their films, and to love it. And that is our needs and our wants. But what is this needs and wants? In the next episode, we will look at active versus passive characters and how passive characters can kill your story. And we'll also look at how needs and wants of a character influences your story.